Howdy, partners. This is Mr. K. We are on day 3 of factoring polynomials. Here we go. All right, my friends. Today, ax squared plus bx plus c. If you notice, the only difference between this little guy and the last time is this little fella right here. That lovely lady is called the A term, all right? That A term is going to make things a little bit more difficult for us, but it's just a multiplier. So it's going to make things a little bit bigger, but the same process goes on. So let's not be afraid of big numbers. Let's understand that we can handle it. And again, today's objective, factoring quadratic polynomial or trinomials. Warm up. All right. Show me what you know. We have binomial number 1, binomial number 2. We taught you 2 ways to do this. The DP, which is the double distribute property. So I get my arrows popping. 1 arrow here, 2 arrow here, 3, 4. Or we can do the box method. Since I already do have these arrows set up, I guess I'm going to erase them anyways. I'm just going to do the 0 or the double distribute property. So x times 2x. Remember, we're multiplying, so we add our exponents. 2x squared. That second arrow be popping over there. X times 7 is positive 7x. Now we have to distribute that negative 2. What's negative 2 times 2x is negative 4x. And then negative 2 times 7 is negative 14. What do we do here? We combine like terms, right? Do we have like terms? All right, let's put it in standard form. Highest exponent. Where's my highest exponent? Boom, x squared. So I'm going to take this term and put it first because there's no other x squared terms. So I can cancel this out because that's in my final answer. Now I have 2x terms back to back, right? I combine them. What is 7x minus 4x? Well, what's 7 minus 4? Positive 3x. Now I combine those 2 boxes into 1. And now I have negative 14 as just my constant. So again, if we want to go over everything from day 1 to day 2 to day 3, we can name this. It's in standard form right now. Highest exponent, 2. Next exponent's 1. Next exponent is none, right? It's just a constant. So we have our quadratic term, our linear term, our constant term. How many terms do we have there? If you forgot how to do terms, put it in the box. 1, 2, 3. Right there, we have our sign, number, letter, sign, number, letter. So we have a trinomial here. We have a specific name for a 3-termer. If I can spell right. Trinomial, what's my highest degree? 2, 1, or none. Obviously 2, we have a special name for that. That's called a quadratic trinomial. What's my lead coefficient? What's the very first thing I run into? Boom, positive 2. So my lead coefficient is 2. There's a warm-up. Again, what do? We just said these 2 binomials equals a trinomial. So again, let me get my green because it's recycling. I went from here, and the other day we went from tries to buys. So it's 2 buys to a try, and then we can go try to a buy. Oh, what did you say, a try to a buy? Sure, let's do one of those too. All right, so what we taught you was listing factors of what multiplied to C and adds to B. So right here, we had that big X. Here's our multiplication. Here's my addition. This is my C, and this is my B. What is my C term? It's negative 32. That's my constant. It's right here. So they multiply to negative 32 and add to that B term. Again, this is my A term that's going to change today is 1. My B term is the coefficient for the linear term, which is the X term. And then my constant is my C. All right? So what 2 values multiply to negative 32 and add to 4? So let's list factors of 32. Notice I left it positive 32 for right now. All I have to do is count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, What is 32 divided by 1? 32. What's 32 cut in half, or 32 divided by 2? 16. Does 3 go into those? Does 3 go into 32? No. Does 4 go into 32? 32 divided by 4 is 8. And that's actually going to be my last factor, friend, that we can come up with here. All right? So with that being said, these are our factor friends. Now, I'm going to look and make this negative. What is my B term? That B stands for big factor as well. Since this is negative, I need my big factor to be this sign. What is this sign? I'm just going to rewrite it. It's a positive 4. So my big factors are on the right. My little factors or my small factors are on the left. My big factors are positive, so all my negative factors or my small factors are negative. So now we just add these up. What is 32 minus 1? 31. What is 16 minus 2? 14. What is 8 minus 4? Or 8 minus 4, yeah, equals 4. So these are all possible B values to this problem. What specific problem are we doing? We're doing the 8 and the negative 4 combo, and it doesn't matter which order you put them in, because whatever 8 times negative 4 gets you negative 32, or negative 4 times 8 gets you negative 32. It doesn't matter the order, all right? Commutative property. So our final answer looks like this, but now we have to go from a trinomial to a binomial. So all we do is plop it in here. The only way to get x squared is x times x. Plop in this plus 8. Plop in this negative 4, and we're good to go. Any questions? If we look, my final answer looks like this. I have a trinomial. How do I know it's a trinomial? Because there's 1, 2, 3 terms. And now I have 2 binomials. How do you know it's a binomial? Because there's 2 terms here, 2 terms here, 2 binomials. All right? So again, just to reiterate, they don't look the same, but they're exactly the same in different forms. It's like taking a $20 bill in your left hand and then giving me 2 10s in my right. They don't look the same, but we know that they're equivalent, hence the equal sign in between. So this is just going from a trinomial to 2 binomials, and then just like the first warm-up went from 2 binomials to a trinomial. All right? Any questions? Please raise your hand, and we'll help you out in class. All right, so now we're going to say, hey, how do we do this problem? If I used to say what multiplies to C and adds to B, so what multiplies to 6 and adds to 17, something should be going off in your head going, holy cow, 17 is huge compared to 6. So let's just see if it'll work out though. What are the factors of 6? 6, 1, 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So these are the only 4 factors. If I add these up, I get 7 and I get 5, nowhere near 17. So I need to look, hey, what's going on? Something weird is happening, right? Something fishy is going on. Yeah, guess what? They dropped in an A value. The first thing you ran into now is a 5 over here. Not an x squared, right? Not a 1x squared. So what we're going to do now is just do this big X here. And what I'm going to do is I'm still going to multiply in this top wedge, and I'm still going to add to the lower wedge. I'm going to add this in real quick. My A term is 5x. I'm going to put those in the bottom. So I'm just going to drop that 5x in the bottom, and I'm going to make a fraction there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say this is A times C. So what is A? A is 5. C is 6. So what's 5 times 6? 30. And it's going to add to B. So this is A times C, the top wedge. The bottom wedge is still going to be B, which is 17. So now I'm looking for factors of what? I'm looking at factors of 30 that add up to 17. So let's just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, hey. Okay, 30 divided by 1 is 30. 30 divided by 2 is 15. 30 divided by 3 is 10. 30 divided by 4, that doesn't work. 30 divided by 5 is 6. So I have 4 pairs of factor friends. So there's 8 factors that make up 30. Since both are positive, I don't need to worry about the signs. Now I'm just going to add up. What's 30 plus 1? 31. What's 5 or 15 plus 2? 17. What's 10 plus 3? 13. What's 6 plus 5? 11. If you notice a trend, the further these factors are, the bigger these values are over here. The closer these factors are down here, the smaller their number, right? So let's just get our number sense going with that. The further we go down here, we're going to get smaller numbers. So now, what two factor, friends, make 17? You have 2 and you have 15. All right? Any questions so far? Now, in these wedges, we're going to have to simplify. Can 2 divided by 5x simplify? No. Can 15 divided by 5 simplify? Yes. It's going to simplify to what? 3 over x, because I'm going to divide each of these by 5, right? 15 divided by 5 is 3. 5 divided by 5 is 1. So I'm going to simplify that. And then what we're going to say is bottoms up. We are going to bring this 5x up top. And we're going to bring this x to the top. And we're going to plop them into our binomials. So the bottom, the denominator is going to go first. 5x is going to go first, followed by our numerator, which is positive 2. And then our bottoms up, we're going to start with our x. And then we're going to go here with positive 3. How do you know that that's correct? You have two binomials. You have it set equal to a trinomial. So yes, you're going to check with double distributing, but I can tell you right now, 5x plus 2 times the quantity x plus 3 is our final answer. All right, so if we look at this problem here, I doubled that one up, my bad. We have positive and negatives. The very first thing I run into is a 2. So I know that this is going to be that big X problem where I'm going to have A times C in the top, and I'm still going to have B in the bottom. But I'm going to have to take that first term and do my 2x over my 2x. I know I'm not taking the x squared, it's just the 1x, all right? So it's kind of a gimmicky problem. However, stay with us. AC, what is A? A is 2, C is negative 12. So what's 2 times negative 12? Gets us negative 24. What's my B value? That is positive 5. So now what am I looking for? I'm looking for factors of 24. I know it's negative. Hold on. That add to 5. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to stop there because I have a good number since 24. What is 24 divided by 1? 24. What is 24 divided by 2? 12. What is 24 divided by 3? 8. What is 24 divided by 4? 6. All right. So now, because this value is negative 24, I have to add my negatives. Is it my small factor or my big factor that's going to be negative? I look at my B. What's my B's sign? The big number, the big function or factor always wins. All right? So what's my big factor here? 24, 12, 8, and 6. What are they going to get? This positive sign. We're intelligently lazy, so we don't write it because it's too much work to put that plus sign. Is it? No, but to us, yes. So now all the small factors get the negative sign because the big factor takes this B sign, all right? So now let's add these up. What's 24 minus 1? 23. And these numbers should decrease in value. What's 12 minus 2? 10. What's 8 minus 3? 5. What's 6 minus 4? 2. What number are we looking for? Bing, 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 bing. We have these two factors, 8 and negative 3, that are going to pair up in here. So I'm going to put negative 3 in the numerator here, and I'm going to put 8 in the numerator here. Don't forget, we simplify. Can we simplify this? 2 and negative 3? Nope. Can we simplify 8 and 2? Yeah, we can. We're going to cut these in. What's 8 cut in half? What's 2 cut in half? 2. So we simplified those fractions. I'm sorry, it's 1. Because 2 divided by 2 is 1, right? I'll just erase that. So this is 1 because 2 divided by 2 is 1. So now I'm going to get 1x on the bottom here and a positive 4 there. So again, once I get those side wedges in there, I do bottoms up, 2x first, negative 3 is on top, goes in the back. This 1x goes in front as just an x, and that positive 4 goes in the back. All right, how do we check this? These are two binomials. These two binomials should turn back into a trinomial. double distribute, and you can check your work. Any questions? Please raise your hand. 8x squared minus 26x plus 15. Ooh, bigger numbers. No big deal, right? What do we have to do first? The first thing you run into is a positive 8. So we know that we're going to do that big X method, and it's going to be a times c, and it's still going to be plus b in the bottom. And then our side wedges are always going to be that coefficient with x, So it's 8x over 8x. And now we need to do some calculations. What are my calculations here? 8 is my a, times my c is 15. What's 8 times 15? 120. Ooh, big number, right? And then it's going to have to add to negative 26. So we know one of them is going to be negative. Nope, we know both of them are going to be negative. Anytime this is a positive sign, they both take this sign. So right away, I know it's going to be negative and a negative. Because what's a negative times a negative? It's a positive, all right? So now let's do 120. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right? What's 120 divided by 1? 120. What's 120 cut in half? 60. What's 120 divided by 3? 40. What's 120 divided by 4? 30. What's 120 divided by 5? 24. What's 120 divided by 6? 20. What's 120 divided by 7? I don't think that works. Nope. What's 120 divided by 8? 15. So we can cross out 7. 120 divided by 9 doesn't work. 120 divided by 10 is 12. I know that one. And again, because this C sign is positive, they're both going to be negatives. So we look back at that B sign. What's a negative times a negative? A positive 120. Good. So every term is going to be negative here. Holy smokes, 120 is a large number. Look how many friends it has. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 factor friends, all right? So let's look at this. 26 is rather smaller, right? I'm going to just start at the bottom then. What is negative 1, or what's negative 10? That's a 10 down here. Minus 12, negative 22. You see why I started at the bottom? Because the top is negative 121. So I can be quicker at these problems if I just look and go, oh man, these numbers should drop. Negative 10 minus 12 is negative 22. So let's go to negative 8 minus 15, and I get negative 23. Closer. What's negative 6 minus 20? Boom, there it is. Whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it is. Shaka, laka, shaka. Bring back the 90s, baby. All right, negative 6 goes on top here. Negative 20 goes on the top there. Now what's going to happen here? Both are going to simplify. They're both even. That's why I'm saying both will simplify. If I take a factor of 2 out of 6, I get negative 3 on top, and I get 4x on the bottom. And here, these both have a factor of 4. So what's negative 20 divided by 4 is negative 5 on the top. And then 8 divided by 4 is 2x on the bottom. So now I simplified these fractions to simplest forms. And remember, we say bottoms up. So we write with the denominator first. I go 4x minus 3. Bottoms up. So 2x minus 5. Again, I got a binomial. That should make sense to you because I started with a trinomial. The trinomial is going to break down into 2 binomials. Check my work. Let me know if I'm wrong. Throw me a comment. All right. 11. 15x squared minus x minus 6. So again, we're going to go big style on here. A times c in the top. Adds to b in the bottom. How do I know it's AC? Because the very first thing I run into isn't 1, it's 15. All right. So what is 15 times 6? Negative 6, I should say. Negative 90. Negative 90 adds to, negative x. What's negative x really? Negative 1. So these factor friends are super, super close. So let's look at that. 90 goes up top. I'm going to wait to do my negatives. Again, we can just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What's 90 divided by 1? 90. What's 90 cut in half? 45. What's 90 divided by 3? 30. What's 90 divided by 4? Not a good number. What's 90 divided by 5? 18. What's 90 divided by 6? And I know 6 will work because when 2 and 3 both work, 6 works because 2 times 3 is 6, so it's a multiple of that. 90 divided by 7, I don't believe works. Nope. 90 divided by 8, does that work? Nope. 90 divided by 9 is 10. So again, we have a negative 90 as our A value, AC value. So the big factor is always going to be that sign. What's the big factor sign? Negative. So these are the negative ones. These are the positive ones. Big factor is negative, small factor is positive. Since this number is so low, I'm just going to start with the bottom one. What's negative 10 plus 9? Negative 1. So our factors, oops, I forgot to put my A value down here with the X. I get 9 and I get negative 10. Now, if you remember, we got to simplify here. What do 9 and 15 have in common? 3. So what's 9 divided by 3 is 3. What's 15 divided by 3 is 5x. So that's good. Negative 10 and 15 have a common 5 factor. So this is going to simplify or reduce to negative 2 when I divide it by 5. And then 15 divided by 5 is 3x. So now my simplest forms are these two here. Bottoms up, my trinomial is going to turn into two binomials. And I want to get bottoms up 5x plus 3. Bottoms up 3x minus 2. All right. So if you look here, I have Desmos right there. So what we can say is what multiplies to these two values and adds to negative 1. All right. So what two numbers, we're going to call those x and y. X and y multiply to what? Negative 90. And then x plus y equals negative 1. So what I'm going to try to do here is do x times y equals 90. And it's going to give me some crazy picture here. You see that? That's okay. Now I'm going to do x plus y equals negative 1. All right? So when I do that, I'm sorry, this is negative 90. It's going to change my answers, right? So if I didn't put it in right, it would give me something wrong. That's why I knew something was going on. What's happening here? It's telling me my factors right away. It's negative 10 and 9. All right? So you can see your factors of what pairs you're going to do here. 9 and negative 10, right? And that's what you're going to put into the big X. So again, you do x times y equals negative 90. So it's A times C there. And then x plus y, those two factors, is going to get you negative 1. So again, negative 90 is your AC value, and your B value is negative 1. I'm just using these values right here because I kind of misspoke when I said the A and C. And I'm getting that here in my Desmos. Any questions? We can help you out with that while we're going over the pair deck in class. What do we do here? The first thing we run into is a negative. So what do you have to do? Factor that negative out. So now what happens? I get 3x squared plus 17x plus 10. If you notice, the first term was negative. It's now positive. The second term was negative. It's now positive. The last term was negative. It's now positive. So all we're doing is changing the signs when we factor out a negative. So now we're going to break this trinomial down into what? Two binomials. How do we do that? Oh, the first thing I notice is it's going to be a big X problem. AC on the top, B on the bottom. It's got to multiply to what? A is 3, C is 10, so it's got to multiply to 30. And add to 17. So what do we get for that? We're going to get our 3x down here, remember, since this is the big X. What multiplies to 30 and adds to 17? I think we did this. It's going to be 2 and 15. And now we're going to simplify these. Because what's 2 times 15? 30. 2 plus 15 is my 17 down here. Bottoms up, 3x plus 2, because that one doesn't simplify. This one does simplify. It breaks down to 5 over x because we're going to simplify by a factor of 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 3 divided by 3 is 1x. So now we go bottoms up with this one here, x plus 5. All right, write the factored form of this polynomial. So here's kind of a different approach. They're giving us this box method. What do we have to do? This is why we did the greatest common factor. What's my GCF between these two terms here? 12 and 9. The greatest factor is 3. They both have how many x's here? 2 and 1, so I can factor out an x. How about this way? Do 4x and 3 have anything in common? Doesn't look like it, but guess what? They do. They have a positive 1 in common because everything has a 1 in common. So now let's go here. What do 12x squared and 4x have in common? A factor of 4x. What do 9x and 3 have in common? A positive 3. Guess what we just did? Binomial 1. Binomial 2 is vertical. If you want to rewrite it so it looks nice and pretty, we get 3x plus 1 times 4x plus 3. So these are my two binomials. If I want to make it a trinomial, I could easily do that as well. And I can do that just by combining like terms on the diagonal. And I'm going to get 12x squared plus 13x, because combining like terms of the 4x and the 9x, and then adding 3. So again, I don't know if you're going to go in the trinomial form or the two binomial forms. But again, these are equivalent. We can't stress that enough. All right, delta math. We're talking quartics. How do I know it's a quartic? Because when I put this in order, the first thing I need to do is put this in standard form. Highest degree to lowest degree. So how many terms do I have here? 3. Negative x to the fourth goes first because it's fourth power. Then I go back to 10x squared, put that second. And then negative 21 is my constant, so that's going to stay in the back. Now what do I have? I have negative x to the fourth plus 10x squared minus 21. What's the first thing I run into? A negative. So I'm going to factor a negative out. So that means change all these signs. So negative x to the fourth becomes x to the fourth. Positive 10x squared becomes negative 10x squared. And then negative 21 turns into positive 21. Now how does this trinomial break down into two binomials? What's the first thing I run into? A 1. That's good. Because then I don't have to do the AC method. I just have to do, or the big X method. I just have to do the small x. So what multiplies to C and adds to B? And remember, the only way to get x to the fourth power is if these quartics turn into quadratics. So x squared times x squared, when you do that double distribute property, you're going to get that x to the fourth. So now what multiplies to 21 and adds to negative 10? It's kind of tricky because 21 is positive, but your factors when they add are negative. I'm sorry, I have it backwards here. Multiplies 21 and adds down here. 1 and 21 and 3 and 7. 21 only has 4 factor friends. And remember, the only way to get a positive product when you're trying to add together to get negatives is if they're both negative. Because negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 21. Negative 3 times negative 7 gets you positive 21. Add these up. What do you get? I'm sorry, not add them up. Yeah, add them up. You get negative 10, which is what we wanted. So this is just going to plop in to the first binomial, and that's going to plop into my last binomial. All right, this was the delta math. This is the quartic one. They call it a quartic. If you look at quart, there's 4 quarts in the gallon because that exponent is 4. We didn't really talk about that, however, in our notes day 1, but we had cubic, quadratic, and linear and constant. We can add quartic to that mix. Quartic, 4 quarts to a gallon, boom, 4, x to the fourth power. All right, any questions? You can double check. This is a 2 binomials, 1, 2 term, binomial 1, binomial 2. Always that trinomial can hopefully break down into simpler forms. All right, Other than that, today's lesson is finito. So, if you like what you heard, hit that subscribe button. Throw a thumbs up. Other than that, have a great day, y'all. Don't worry, I won't forget. Here we go, brownies. Here we go.